3, 2, 1. Hello, Latin 4. We are skipping forward just a little. So you may recall at the last lesson, Juno offered to Aeolus the nymph Deiopeia. Aeolus takes her up on that offer, and Aeolus lets the winds out, and the winds are going to go, and now they are attacking the Trojan fleet. So as we resume the passage, the Trojan fleet is under attack. What I'll be doing, I'll read the Latin, and then I'll break out the translation for you and talk about some grammatical items as necessary. Franguntur remi. The word remus means oar, so remi is the nominative plural. The oars, franguntur. If frango means to break, this passive ending, entur, the oars are broken. We're talking about now the fleet has been attacked by the winds and the oars are broken off the sides of the ships. Tombproa avertit et undis dat latus. Then the bow, prora, the bow of the ship, that's the very front of the ship. Tombproa avertit, the bow turns, et the bow dot, the bow gives. Now what the bow gives is its side. Now this is poetic. You know, for it's really kind of personified here. The bow gives its side. Now what that means is, if you've ever been in a boat in a storm, you do not want your side to basically be facing in the direction of the waves, because it gives its bow undis, to the waves. If you get in this configuration, a big enough wave can basically capsize the ship. If you keep your bow pointed toward the waves, you can kind of plow through them. Insequitur cumulo praeruptus aquae moans. Moans means a mountain. A mountain of what? Aquae. Here is a nice genitive singular. A mountain of water. Now, what figure of speech is this? It's water, so it's not really a mountain. What would it mean to describe a huge wave as an aquae moans? This would basically be like a metaphor. A mountain of water. This mountain of water is described as praeruptus, having burst forth. Having burst forth, what does it do? Insequitur. It follows. What does it follow? It follows cumulo, in a heap. Remember that ablative, without a preposition, you can use any of the prepositions that tend to be used with ablative. So instead of saying in cumulo, the poet can just say cumulo. A mountain of water, having burst forth, follows in a heap. Folks, this is dangerous stuff if you're out on the ocean. He summo influctu pendant. Now the he, these, this is basically the Trojans, okay? So these, you have to picture, they're all like in these various boats, and they're in the middle of a storm now. So what do? These hang. Pendant. We have a lot of English words that are derived from this root, pend, meaning to hang. We have the word pendulum, for instance, which is a hanging thing that swings back and forth. We also have the word to depend. If something depends on another thing, it's as if it is like hanging upon it logically. So these hang. Where do they hang? Summo influctu, in a high wave. And remember, it is normal Latin word order when you have a preposition and an adjective describing the noun to have the adjective first, then the preposition, then the noun. This is in fact the same word order that you have with summa cum laude. His unda dehiscens terram interfluctus aperet. Okay, get ready because this is poetically one of my favorite passages of the Aeneid. Listen to what the poet says here. Unda, a wave. Now keep in mind, there's synonyms here. Unda means wave, so does fluctus. They both mean wave, okay? Why would he use two different words for wave in the same passage? Well, because stylistically, it's a good thing to not use the same word twice. So if you can use a synonym, you do so. A wave yawning, dehiscens. The wave is yawning ground. What this means is imagine a wave so big, okay, it's so big that the bottom of the wave reaches all the way to the bottom of the seabed, revealing terram. But rather than say that the wave lifts so high that the earth appears, the poet says, unda dehiscens terram, a wave yawning ground. Imagine like what person looks like when they're yawning, okay? Their mouth is open wide. So what you're picturing is this wave like a huge open mouth. The wave yawning ground his to them, meaning to the Trojans. They are in their boats. They see a wave so massive that the ground itself all of a sudden reveals underneath them. A wave yawning ground to them appears between the waves. What a passage. Now, we meet for the first time our hero. Think about stories in which you meet the hero for the first time. In the movie Lord of the Rings, the very first time we meet Aragorn, he is in a bar, he's like this ranger, he's nothing. And basically that's kind of the point. He doesn't even himself realize what his destiny can be. The very first time we meet Aeneas, extemplo, straight away, Aeneas is not the subject of this sentence. The subject of this sentence is membra, the limbs of Aeneas. Straight away, the limbs of Aeneas. Now, if solvo means loosen, once again, a passive ending, the limbs of Aeneas are loosened, and frigore is what they're loosened with or by. Straight away, the limbs of Aeneas are loosened with chill. Our hero is in trouble. The first time we meet him, he's basically paralyzed from the fear of what is happening. Ingemit, et duplicis tendens ad sidera palmas, Thalia voce refert. Here's the first verb that he governs. He sighs. This is it's like a sign of weakness. Virgil is willing to have our hero be weak the first time we meet him. He sighs. And what is he doing? Tendance. You guys know by now, of course, NSNT equals ING. He's holding. Now what he's holding is duplicis palmas. He's holding double palms, meaning the palms of his hands, by the way. He's holding double palms. Where is he holding them to? Ad sidera, to the stars. Basically, imagine a person with their arms held out on each side of them, with their palms pointing up. This, in the ancient world, was the normal position for prayer. it was only in the Middle Ages that this thing began about people like interlocking their fingers for prayer or putting their two palms together with their fingers straight up for prayer. That was a medieval thing. It's not even clear where it came from. One theory is that when soldiers would come to church holding a sword, the priests didn't like it, and so they told them put their swords away and put their hands together. But nevertheless, in the ancient world, when a priest prays, the priest prays with their hands straight out and their palms facing up. And this is what Aeneas is doing, holding double palms to the stars. Thalia voce refert. He brings such things with his voice. Now what's going to happen next, of course, is a quote. But the poet, rather than just say like inquit or dixit, poetically, he brings such things with his voice. O terque quaterque beati, quis ante ora patrum Troiae sub moenibus altis contigit opetere. Okay, this is a lengthy sentence. Okay, let's break it down. The first clause, O terque quaterque beati. Oh just means like you're talking to somebody. Oh, now what he's going to call them is blessed, beati. How much are they blessed? Terque quaterque. Oh, thrice. Ter means thrice, 3 times. Oh, thrice and 4 times blessed. Okay? Who are these people that are 3 times blessed and 4 times blessed? Well, what we're going to find out is that these are the people that Aeneas wishes he were right now. Who Aeneas actually is right now is a man about to drown in the Mediterranean Sea. And would not a much better death for him as a soldier have been to die in the battlefield back in Troy? That's what he's going to say here. Oh, 3 and 4 times blessed, quis, understood, are those who, quis, are those who ante, before what? Before ora, before the faces of whom? Patrum, before the faces of their fathers. Before the faces of their fathers where? Sub, under. Under what? Sub moenibus altis. Under the high walls. Sub moenibus altis. Under the high walls of what? Sub moenibus altis Troiae. Under the high walls of Troy. How blessed would they be, those who, what would they be blessed to have done? Here it is, contigit opetere. For whom it happened for them to die. He is actually saying again, what a dishonor it is after everything he's been through, that he's going to die drowning in the Mediterranean Sea. How blessed those who died back in that Trojan War. Yes, they did so under the gaze of their own fathers, but there's some honor in that. I remember some years back when we were in Romania during the summer, there was a soldier who had, with the Romanian army, he had been in Afghanistan because as a NATO member, Romania was sending soldiers to help the United States in Afghanistan and in Iraq. There was a soldier who came back from his tour in Afghanistan, and the night he was back, he went out to dinner with some friends, and after dinner, he stepped into the street and a car came by too close to the curb. It hit him and it killed him. And I remember the news was saying how horrible it was that he died that way. It would have been better for him to die in war in Afghanistan than to come back from Afghanistan and die that way. That's really what Aeneas is saying here. After all they've been through, to die now drowning in the Mediterranean Sea, Oh, thrice and four times blessed are those who before the faces of their fathers, under the high walls of Troy, it happened for them to die. Okay, Latin 4, this is your passage for the week. It's longer than last week's passage, so again, you might want to study it just part way. You might want to just review it maybe on Wednesday. Do the mini Socrative. Don't forget, I'm always in the Google Hangout. If you want to talk about things, talk about the passage, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. Have a great week.